solve it in an hour. They've got DNA evidence, hard scientific data, and that's what we need to put this guy in jail. Isn't that ridiculous? But trust me, that is our society. We're a soundbite society. We've become very visual and very oral, as opposed to very cerebral, where we would study issues, we would go to college, we would get background information and data, and make a reasoned decision. We have become this, mini soundbite society. And so, I want it quick, I want it fast. I don't have time for any extraneous things. Give it to me and I'm out of here. And we're making some horrendous decisions based upon that. But we're seeing that in the court system, which I find particularly disturbing, and I'm not sure if there's anything I can do to impact that. But the court system hasn't kept up with that trend. So we're making a lot of inroads in the county. Our murder rate's down. Crimes against the person, meaning violent crimes, are down right at 18%. I just got the stats. It's like 17.7%. Home invasions are down. Car burglaries are down. So across the board, the things that we've done to kind of turn this corner and try to hold back this tide, again, we're starting to reap some of those benefits. We've gone from 18, we had 18 neighborhood watches when I took office, of which 13 were really active in Escambia County. We're up to now 52, so I can't keep this sheet updated quick enough. We've never had that many neighborhood watches in Escambia County. If you don't have one, I encourage you to form one. That's one of the best things that you can do for crime in your neighborhood. Get the signs posted, get actively involved with notifying the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. We all know when people enter our neighborhoods that don't belong there. And when a car comes creeping down the street, we know which house they tend to go to, especially those of you in real estate. We're only limited by the amount of people that we can respond to. The gentleman asked me before the presentation today about certain intersections where people are running red lights. I'm as aware of those as you are. I can name them off to you in the county where we have a real problem with that. My other problem is our shortage of manpower and resources. Another fact of the economic downturn is we can't hire up where we should be by state standards. Let me give you some frightening statistics on that. We were 66 officers short when I came into office. We're now down to 44. We had a federal matching fund grant that allowed us to hire 20 additional officers. We've managed to squeeze a few more here and there out of administration and reorganization. So we've actually fielded 32 additional officers when I came into office. But I'm still 44 short at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. 44 deputies short by the state standard. The state standard for law enforcement is 1 deputy per 1,000 residents that you service. And so we're down by 44. It's worse in the jail, in the Escambia County Jail. We're 118 correctional officers short. 118. And I think 13 administrative positions to support those folks. Now, I'm a realist. We're never going to get there, probably any time that I've depended upon my term as sheriff, if I serve one term or two, because the economy will not support that. And so we have to kind of hunker down and say, okay, here's my list of priorities. I will focus on these things because they have the most devastating effects on our community. And some of those things that are lower on the list we will not ignore, but we will get to them as our manpower and resources allow. And that's just the reality of what we have to do. We're looking at other communities that will even allow citizens to do self-reporting. If you got basically what are neighborhood disputes, the barking dogs and the kids out making noise, etc. Some communities have gone where you can just go online and file a citizen's complaint basically on that. And we turn it over to investigations and we'll get to it as we can. And those are the realities of again, an economic downturn. We're doing what we can with what we have, but we've refocused our efforts on those things that will be the most devastating to our community. In the area of the economy and economic development, probably one of the best things we've done is the neighborhood sweep program in conjunction with the rest of the county departments. ECUA, Roads and Grounds, Roads and Bridges is actually there. The folks from the state for the sexual predator units and probation and parole are there. And as you know, we sweep through the community, we pick up trash, we serve warrants, we make sure that registered sexual predators are staying where they say they are because that's based upon self-reporting. If they're not, we violate their and we've managed to keep our units occupied with the exception of one by doing that. And those are just the realities of doing business. Well, that's the same in the government also. The reality is I've got to give you the best bang for the buck and be fiscally responsible as a public servant. But the reality also is that again, we're not paying in today's market prices what we paid in 05 and 06. So I think that's a little bit of a disconnect between the private sector and the public sector. Is that, well, I want you to do more with less, because we all are. I can tell you as a retired military member, and I know at least anybody else here other than the two of us retired military members have. Well, guys, then you know what we went through in the military. I enlisted in 1971 right out of high school. I did one semester in college. I was one of those that graduated at 17. Wanted to be a police officer, too young. Wanted to go to college, didn't have any money. And so the military was a great outlet for me. Provided me the GI Bill, I could go to college. I could be a police officer in the military. And we were promised free medical and dental care for the rest of our lives, for us and our wives, if you made the military career. Okay, that was the promise. We were trained in basic training and officer training that, hey, if you determine to make the sacrifices that your country will ask you to do, then here's the benefit to that. And every quarter, as you guys recall, we'd get that piece of paper that would tell us, now while you're only making $25,000 a year, where your civilian contemporaries, or our counterparts, I should say, are making $50,000, $60,000 a year, boy, the offset for your free medical and dental care is this. And so you're really making $50,000, $55,000 a year. We got that every quarter, buddy. And it was to tell you, yeah, your pay's low, but you're getting all these benefits, and that offsets that. And when you retire, that'll really mean a lot, because you don't have to worry about medical care and dental care for you and your wife. And so again, we bought into that. I did. It never occurred to me that my government would lie to me. And so I did a career, again, not for the money, but because I loved my country. But with the understanding that everybody I went to high school and college with, who are making $100,000, $200,000 a year, that became doctors, lawyers, business leaders, etc., and they're socking away the big bucks. Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to provide for my wife and I when I retire. We may not be wealthy, but at least in our declining years, we're going to have this. Well, then they started what was called the Campus Program, which, that was the first program, a little offset for you. We understand, guys, that we told you about medical and dental, but, we're having some hard budget times, so you need to pay a little offset here to get this supplemental program called Campus. That started in late 70, 71. Everybody said, well, yeah, and I think it was like $3 or $4 a month out of your pay. So again, remember, I'm going to boil this frog. They're probation or parole, and they're reincarcerated. We're coming up on a year's anniversary in Mayfair. We're going to have a cookout for the community over there. It started there in August of 2010, and we will continue to do those. If you want to know where we're going, you can go to stanbyso.com, and there's a list there, a scheduled list for the Operation Clean Sweeps. Also, crime mapping, if you haven't been to our site, which realtors use a lot, by the way, to kind of predict the crime trends in certain communities, because that's a question you get asked by your clients, is, well, what's the crime in this area? You can pull that up. That's updated monthly, crime stats, so you can pull that information up without having to waste your time making calls. Some of the things I guess I'm proudest of are on that list is we've managed to roll the budget back to 05 and 06 levels. Do you want to do that? No. But you know what, folks, you have to. And so we trimmed we had 10 divisions within the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. When I took office, we were down to 3. We had a lot of high-priced contractors. They made $75,000 plus was their starting salary, plus all their pay and benefits. So when we went from 10 down to 3, I don't have any of those contractors making that kind of money, by the way. I have one that's a part-time attorney that's paid, I think, in the 60s for that, but he's a part-time attorney that works with us. We got rid of that waste, and we rolled that money back into our Sheriff's Office operations for our folks that work in the jail and on the road. We're down to about a $74 million budget. It had peaked at about $80 million, so we've managed to reduce it by about right at $6 million. Anybody here paying the same thing they paid in 05 and 06 for gas, food, all that stuff? Well, that's the reality of public service. Many times as citizens, and I'll tell you, I'm heavily invested in Escambia County. I'm not just the sheriff. My wife and I own property here. We started investing in real estate back in '94. We own 9 or 10 properties. Forgive me, I don't know. My wife manages that. Obviously, I can't do it as the sheriff. To include our homes that we live in. And we have reduced our rents every year since every year we've reduced our rents. I don't have a complex or apartment. Actually, we have townhomes and single family dwellings. We don't have a unit that we are making the same amount of money that we made in 04 and 05 because the economy started a downward trend. Now, we've got several long-term residents in our buildings that have been with us for 6, 7 years. Good good renters, again, having trouble with the economy, you know, some of them change jobs and that sort of thing. So in order to keep our folks in our rental properties, we've done that. We've gone to them and said, look, if you want to stay and re-sign your lease, you know, we'll reduce the rents, you know, $75, $100, whatever it turns out to be. Okay, I'm going to boil this frog, so I do it a degree at a time. And you say, well, yeah, I mean, what the heck, you know, a couple of bucks, I mean, that's, you know, I mean, I got everything that's basically, I mean, I don't pay co-pays and all that, you know, that's not too bad. Well, again, it's morphed and morphed and morphed, and I don't have any dental care, by the way. Okay? You know, I get my dental work through the sheriff's office. I got this up plan. We can go out and get, what, a cleaning and some of those things, but I mean, and if you need real dental work done, fillings and all that, you get on a waiting list, and you literally go out there today and sit, okay, and wait and hope that there's a cancellation and that they can work you in and do something. That's your dental plan in the military. So you just say, forget it, I'll get a plan someplace else.
I can get you Noah.
Yeah. But the point being is that we were promised these things that we're never going to get because, you know, the government give it and the government take it away. And it went through the court system, and one of the local judges, Judge Roger Benson, his grand ruling on this was that the people that made those promises to the military, recruiters and all that, since the beginning of time, basically, I love this ruling. They were not empowered to do so. And that was it. It went away.
That was the ruling?
That was the ruling. Sure was. They didn't have the authority to do that. Well, what about the hundreds of thousands of us that believed it and did it based upon what they told us? The answer is just they didn't have the authority to do that. So you live with that. So remember, in the public sector, okay, not as all as it seems. I can tell you that in the glory days of Escambia County before Hurricane Ivan, and I think we'll all use that as a benchmark where we started to see the economic downturn, you know, we were making big bucks, weren't we, folks? You know, real estate was on a high. People were buying big properties from all over the country. Okay, business was good. Business was good. When I started in private practice here as a private investigator, I think attorneys were about $135 an hour. Is what attorneys worked for back in 93, 94. You know, attorneys now make $275 plus. Okay. Now let's jump. Now that's the private sector. Let's jump to the public sector. I can tell you, none of my deputies or correctional officers benefited from that boom time. Their salary